Fun means we're live. A casual take with your boy Stephen Pepper, here to give a take off my chest. It is official. JJ Redick is the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. This is pretty inevitable. It felt like it, right? I mean, there was a fork in the road, a pause to the inevitability because Dan Hurley came in the mix. He was my ideal candidate. He said, "We good." Lakers kind of lowballed him. JJ Redick went right back to the front runner, but this felt inevitable. And as far as my opinion goes, I actually don't mind the hire. I like the aggressiveness of this hire for the Lakers, given what the rest of the coaching market look like. I too see the vision of a Pat Riley, a Steve Kerr, a young coach comes in, former player without that huge experience, and revolutionizes with their basketball mind. I am not saying, by the way, that Redick will end up being at their Hall of Fame level for Riley and Kerr. But what I am saying is a young, fresh coaching mind with potential is a risk worth taking. And I understand experience is a concern. Trust me, it is. I mean, Redick's coaching experience extends far to 10-year-olds. But what we need to do is stop acting like this has never happened before in the league and hasn't paid off. Because Redick now is the sixth head coach in NBA history since 2010 to become a head coach without any prior collegiate or professional experience. And I'm looking at these names here. Outside of Derek Fisher, if you give that type of coach a good enough team, they can pass. Mark Jackson, playoff series win in his second year. Jason Kidd, playoff series win in his first year. Steve Nash. Now, I know everyone says Steve Nash is a disaster in Brooklyn, but the same people would also tell you that Nash's Brooklyn Nets were a KD toe on the line away from winning the title. And Steve Kerr, in his first 5 seasons, went to 5 NBA championships, won 3 of them, and won 1 in his first season. So unless you want to go back and forth debating what history says, but history tends not to lie. And recent history says playoffs, path to a championship is realistic for a coach like Redick. And when you're the Lakers, where a playoff series win hasn't been a guarantee since the bubble, I'll take a chance on history. And history says you're overreacting if all you care about is experience. And for the Lakers, I think they are a talented enough team for a JJ Redick to succeed. They have the LeBron James, Anthony Davis championship winning duo with Western Conference Finals potential. They're not like Derek Fisher's Knicks. They're more like, the KG Paul Pierce Brooklyn Nets that Jason Kidd won a playoff series with. And this is a 4-year deal for JJ. So what it basically says to me is the Lakers see this as, Spoelstra, Steve Kerr, long-term, let's build a culture here with this brilliant young basketball mind. So what this means is if JJ Redick kind of, looks a little bit over his head, there's some bad moments in the first 20 to 30 games, do yourself a favor. Don't run to Twitter calling for this man's job. In any job in the world, even if you have some experience, your first couple of weeks, your first 20 to 30 games, it's going to take some adjusting. Like you move into a new job, even if you have experience, like a sales job, the software might be different. The management chemistry might be different. It might be a little tough. So it's just like any job. And who's to say, if you're going to go vouch for another coach, that a Dan Hurley or an assistant coach would make a clean transition? Hurley, these all-time great college coaches in NBA and NFL history tend not to transition clearly. And then these assistant coaches, guys, stop. You're making a fool out of yourself with these assistant coaches. I'm going to go on a limb and say that you had no idea who half these assistant coaches were until they ended up on the Laker rumors. And I understand, yes, experience is a concern, but this is why you build an experienced staff. And what I like about JJ Redick for the last month, he's been entertaining the staff. Rondo, Dunley, Cassell, and former NBA players who have been assistant coaches on winning teams. And Scott Brooks, who I think is a huge name because Scott Brooks is a former NBA head coach who JJ Redick definitely needs a former NBA head coach to relieve some pressure off him. That's going to be huge in his first 20 to 30 games. And my whole point is, brilliant mind. I value that. Experience is key. I do value experience, but give me the brilliant mind over experience. We watch the podcast. We listen to the NBA Finals, and JJ's on the mic. JJ sharp as hell. And JJ, the Lakers interviewed him. They said he's committed. They say he has a vision for the team. They said he's organized. He can communicate really well. JJ wants his job, and he is the smartest mind to do that. LeBron James wouldn't do a podcast with a Joe Schmo. I'm a huge LeBron sexual, and I'm dying to meet LeBron James in person one day. But I'm going to say this for my ego. LeBron would never, ever think about looking my way to host a podcast with him because I'm not at that basketball mind. LeBron respects that 17-year NBA vet in JJ Redick to run a podcast with. And that's the most important thing about this whole hire is that JJ Redick can check a box that a LeBron James head coach absolutely needs to check, and that's LeBron's respect. You can tell me about experience all you want. Oh, my God, he doesn't have professional or collegiate experience. I'm old enough to remember David Blatt. David Blatt had all the experience in the world, was like the GOAT coach of Israel. He goes to the finals with LeBron James. And the next season, like 20 games in, they're like 20 games above 500. LeBron's like, yeah, get this guy the hell out of here. Because LeBron didn't respect him. I like to think LeBron loves JJ Redick if he's going to go out of his way and make a podcast with them. So, yes, experience is a big deal, but I would much rather have the smart basketball mind who knows what he's doing. Remember all those graphics, all the memes on Twitter about Darvin Ham in the huddle, people looking at his whiteboard like, the hell is that? Again, JJ Redick could actually draw up some smart actions. I have faith of unlocking a better Lakers offense than Ham could. Give me the brilliant mind over the guy with the experience. And I think JJ Redick's going to be interesting as a Lakers head coach, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. And I appreciate everyone for tuning in to this episode of A Casual Take. Follow my social medias to stay updated on all things related to the show. Some Casual Takes is the handle. Until next time, see you.